I've been grinding Monster Hunter World Iceborne's 100% Steam achievements on and off for a few months now, and I'm at the cusp of losing my sanity. What started out as a time killer during the tail end of summer has dealt a critical blow to my motivation to even play this game anymore. I'm relatively new to the Monster Hunter series as I started with its 5th generation. After clocking in a few hundred hours and farming some Fatalis gear as well as the wonderful joy of decoration grinding, I played through Rise on the Switch when it was released and I really liked it, and then I played it again with Sunbreak on PC, in a proper resolution and now locked at 30 FPS, and I loved it, for the most part. And a long time ago, I remember looking through Monster Hunter World's achievements and saying, RNG crown hunts, picking up footprints, Lydian research quests? Nah, that sounds horrible. I'm good. But yet over time, a looming sense would roll over me that despite being one of my favorite games ever, I couldn't display its Steam completion on my account the same way I'm able to with a bunch of the Souls games. I mean, am I really even a fan of the game if I don't 100% it? And so because of that, I naively began my achievement hunting grind through Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, not having the faintest clue what I was getting into. Video game achievements have been around for decades at this point, most prominently being a part of Xbox Live's Gamerscore system, where games would have a variety of in-game challenges, each with an achievement that would be worth a certain amount of Gamerscore. Damn, that word feels so corny to say in retrospect. Gamerscore. The assigned point value would correspond to the developer's idea of its difficulty, and if you got all the available achievements, and thus all the Gamerscore available, within a game, it would be displayed on your Xbox Live profile as an arbitrary number to flex on the people who have a lower number than you. PlayStation has an almost identical system, but instead of a number value tied to each achievement, they have rarities like bronze, silver, gold, and 100%ing a game gives you the platinum trophy. Lastly, Steam has again almost the same system, but this time there's no value or reward. You can just put it on your profile and no one cares about it, and your life outside the game will have absolutely no changes whatsoever. So why try to 100% a game in the first place? Well, usually it's fun. Most often born out of a desire to give yourself more artificial goals to complete as an excuse to continue playing a game that you already love. Yes, some games may give you actual in-game rewards like the security armor and katana back in Halo 3 days, but most games don't, and if we've already established that most people don't care or are unimpressed looking at your decked out Steam profile, then all we have left is either the fun factor or the simple feeling of completion and satisfaction from doing such a challenge. It may not impress anyone, but at least you're proud of it, right? So what makes for a fun 100%? I think the best way to define it would be a challenge for those players willing to fully interact with the game's systems to a higher degree than most. Let's use the tired example of the Souls series for a moment. The Sekiro 100% can be best boiled down to kill every boss, do every ending, and get every upgrade. That's pretty much it, as the rest of the achievements are completed naturally along the way. It's not asking you to put in an outrageous, boring time sink. It's not forcing you to do anything unenjoyable or unfun, like grinding out a random mechanic that is ignored by most players, per se. And overall, it is a perfect excuse to enjoy the game for longer after simply beating it the first time. By the end of it, you will have experienced every ending in the game, their lore, as well as having been able to experience every boss that the developer put their effort into. When done, you're left satisfied, knowing you've enjoyed all the best that the game has to offer. This is a perfectly designed 100%. Alas, this is not a Sekiro video, unfortunately, so I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, but do you know what game doesn't have a well-made completion? Monster Hunter World Iceborne has a horrible 100% achievement grind. The worst kind of 100% completion of a game is one that forces you to begrudgingly grind out arbitrary gameplay systems that the rest of the players ignores during their casual playthroughs, and usually they're ignored for good reason. Now, for those of you who are uninitiated with exactly what achievements exist and are required to 100% this game, let me ask you something really quick. What kind of achievements are you expecting from a Monster Hunter game? How about do every quest and get rainbow pigment? How about do all the deliveries and canteen ingredients? You need those for food combinations and subcamps, right? Maybe do a number of hunts with every weapon type to push you into trying out new styles of play and feeling a sense of mastery over each weapon the game has to offer. Well, no, none of these achievements exist. Now go do Paw Swap for 30 hours. Ah yes, Paw Swap. The perfect little microcosm of what's wrong with this game's completion. First of all, if you don't even know what pause swap is, fear not, dear viewer. Neither does the statistical majority of the player base. How do I know this? Well, because the achievement told me that only 3.5% of the entire population of Monster Hunter World Iceborne's players have gotten even a single treasure. Ahem. To summarize, first you have to befriend the Lydians from a locale and get their respective Palico gadget by doing a little side quest. Then you have access to their Tail Riders, which you need to then level up to level 6 by eating a potion with wide range and then leaving the quest and then repeating this over and over again. I found out later you can simply report to the handler and do it again, but that's neither here nor there. Now you have unlocked pause swap for a locale. You then head to their little base and there will be 3 Lydians to pause swap with. Basically, you hold out an item from your inventory and they will do a funny little animation to give away how much they want the item. If you successfully trade with the Lydian who wants the item the most, you get a reward. Usually something like fish, footprints, or whatever. However, every once in a while, you will get a notification after pause swapping. New treasure tips available. You then talk to them and they'll give you a riddle to solve. You're supposed to then solve it and then find where it is in the locale, but let's be real, that will more than double how long this takes, so just pull up a YouTube guide. Then, you arrive at the location and boom, you get the treasure. Easy, right? But wait, that was only part 1 and it's a 3-part treasure, so you gotta find all the other parts, finally get the reward and then go back to pause swap grinding until the RNG chance that you get another treasure tip. By the way, you only have 1 tip at a time, and by the way, you can only pause swap 3 times per hunt and you have to leave and come back every 2 trades. You can take anywhere between 1 and 5 to 6 reloads before you finally get the tip. By the way, there are 10 treasures in each locale, and most of them having multiple parts, and there are 6 locales in the game. This took me over 35 hours game time just traveling back and forth through load screens, trading over and over again to get a single tip, then following a YouTube guide, running around a locale till I got it, and then repeating it over and over for 60 total treasures. Or in my case, 64, because my game started crashing a couple times and I lost progress due to VRAM issues because Iceborne isn't optimized. This isn't even the worst achievement in the game, like not even close. This is maybe 3rd or 4th place. The problem with this game's completion is that after 300 hours of playtime and after farming Fatalis many times and having pretty much nothing left to do, I only had about half the game's achievements. And for the rest of the achievements I had left, more than 20 or 30 of them, while maybe not as long as others, were all the same level of boring, monotonous, pointless grind. And I can go on with examples. If you have done this completion, you know there are way worse achievements. Crown hunts exist. Monster research where I gotta grab footprints and put Lavasioth in traps 1,000 times for tens of hours. The 50 arena quest achievement. I feel the muscle memory of doing the same Puke hunt over and over. Eat the steak, drop down, grab the slinger ammo, clutch claw, tenderize, flinch shot him into a perfect rush, paralysis knives, perfect rush. He goes to eat the berries, flash pod, topple, perfect rush. Over and over again. Yes, I know now that you can just shoot 10 boa bows with an HPG, and yes, I tried it at first, but it took longer than the Puke hunts. And then I tried it again at the end of my grind, and I was able to finally get 1 to 1.5 minute times, therefore being faster than the Puke hunts. And yes, I made up the last like 8 or to 10 of my 50 hunts, but too late. And that's just as boring and even more frustrating to get knocked around by Barroth than just doing a normal hunt. Yes, I know I didn't have to fight my least favorite Elder Dragon 27 times to get a research done, but this was the alternative. If I had to summarize what a bad 100% completion of a game felt like, it would be like when you go in, hoping to continue the fun of the game you've enjoyed, happy to find an excuse to keep playing as if you haven't already finished the game, trying to suck out some last bit of enjoyment. But you finish that journey, spiteful and hating the same game with every fiber of your being, getting frustrated at the thought of running around the guiding lands for hours looking for moles and funny hats. Let me clarify something. Some people who have thousands of hours on World and Iceborne, or more throughout the entire series, may have gotten these achievements with less trouble. Maybe taking a slower pace throughout the many years of this game's release would have been a better approach. Maybe there were slightly more efficient ways to grind some of these achievements. Sure, you can think that, but I believe it's an inexcusable and baffling decision to make most of these achievements about non-essential garbage that is not fundamentally in line with Monster Hunter's gameplay. Almost every achievement I have a problem with in this game is because they are either reliant on pure RNG, dependent on sitting through constant reloading, asking for too much of a grind in a boring system, or a combination of all of the above. And these do not make for good combinations. I'm not complaining that Monster Hunter is too grindy, of course not. Monster Hunter is inherently grindy, it's a part of its core gameplay philosophies. But the problem lies in what you are grinding. What these games ask of you when grinding is really just playing a song and dance of its main gameplay loop, perfectly catered and designed to be a fun repetition of fighting new monsters, making their gear to feel stronger, getting a sense of progress, and then taking on new monsters and repeating this over and over again. That is fun. That's Monster Hunter. But what the completion is asking of you has nothing to do with this. It's no extension of the series' gameplay loop. It does not revolve around monster hunting. I'm not asking for less grind in my Monster Hunter grind. I'm not asking for an easier completion. I'm asking for a subtraction of the mundane. Hitting Master Rank 100 to fight Ruin and Nergigante is a perfectly designed achievement that makes sure you don't miss out on a pivotal but optional moment. Getting both the mini and giant crowns for every single monster in the game is just bullshit. It's not hard, it doesn't require skill, it's not rewarding, it's just bullshit. Reloading over and over again until RNG hits. That is Monster Hunter done wrong. So if the completion is terrible, why do it? Well, you can't just excuse flaws by ignoring them. Criticism is necessary throughout all of life. It's how we improve. I don't think such a completely optional thing, such as getting all the achievements, is indicative of World's quality as a game. By no means do I think of World less because of this, but I think I have every right to criticize a specific aspect of the game on its own, which is what I'm doing, of course. I'm not reviewing Monster Hunter here. I'm saying that this specific aspect is an extremely weak part of the game. And it is a part of the game, by the way. These achievements are decided on by the game's developers, and in this game's case, they're even tied to in-game badges. While going for achievements may not be inherently part of Monster Hunter's post-game cycle, it is definitely an optional thing for people to do, and I don't think it should just be so looked over. But I digress. Overall, I don't recommend going for this if you haven't done it already. It was not fun, it wasn't worth it, and I regret going for it. But at least at the end of the day, I could show it off on my Steam profile.